So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar on CompTIA certification in the era of digital transformation in Africa. So we'll be exploring how CompTIA certifications empower individuals and organizations in Africa to thrive in the age of digital transformation. And during today's presentation, we'll offer some insights, guidance, practical information about the certifications to help you to understand how the certifications can support your development. The session is being organized by FredExcel Consult. It's a Ghanaian training and consulting firm which provides trainings ranging from MSU, data, AI, cybersecurity, and cloud to corporate organizations, to graduates from tertiary institutions, and individuals interested in emerging technologies. My name is Ifwa Sumini. I'm the administrator at FredExcel, and I'll be acting as your moderator for today. Now, let's move on to the purpose of today's gathering. We are privileged to have two amazing resource persons taking us through this edition of FredExcel webinar. Our first speaker is Mr. Benjamin Kilonzo Ndambuki. He has over 15 years of experience in the IT training and certification sector. He's a business development manager at CompTIA, a leading provider of vendor-neutral IT certifications in the world. He helps IT professionals and organizations in Middle Africa to become knowledgeable and competent to meet the industry demands of the 21st century. And he is skilled in various areas, including project management, CompTIA, MS certifications and products, and CRM. And our second speaker is Mr. Fred Anaafi. He is a data analytics expert with over a decade's experience supporting organizations to achieve revenue targets of over $100 million every year. He has coached multiple professionals on data analysis using essential Excel tools. He is highly skilled in data visualization, business intelligence, customer segmentation, interactive dashboards, data reporting, sales analysis, training, and coaching. Wow. So just do you see the caliber of people we have on today? It's going to be so exciting. To keep things engaging, we will have a mix of presentations, interviews, and Q&A breaks. So Mr. Ndambuki will kick off with a presentation, and it will be followed by an interview, which will be facilitated by Fred. And afterwards, we'll wrap up with a Q&A section where all of us will have the opportunity to ask any questions we have on the topic or any other training that FredExcel Consult provides. So now I'll be handing over to Fred to conduct a short poll to gauge our expectations, and then we can start from there. So Fred, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Ifwa, and thank you for the wonderful job you are doing. As Ifwa said, we'll move straight to action. So Benjamin would like to introduce yourself and also maybe move straight to your presentation. I'm sure first we would like to know what CompTIA is really about, because some of us are quite new to CompTIA. So from your end, we would like to know what CompTIA is. First, let me inform my audience that Benjamin is in Kenya, if I'm right, and I'm sure they are leading us by 3 hours. So currently, I'm sure it will be around 6:30 at its end, and I'm sure the weather will be cool there. Here, the weather is quite warm, and the sun is really up. So Benjamin, over to you.
Hey. Thank you very much, Fred. Okay. I hope everyone can see me. Good. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Afua, for opening the session. Yes, I am based in Nairobi. I'm sure we all know the line Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
I know no one will dispute if I tell you it came from this part of Africa. So we own it. But anyway, besides that, I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad to meet this audience and to be discussing about Africa, and within that context, how CompTIA certifications come to play. So you said it's an introduction about CompTIA, and one of the things that people do not know about CompTIA is that CompTIA is actually a non-profit, non-governmental organization. All right, that's CompTIA for you. It is registered in America, and CompTIA actually started in 1982. I don't know. I wish the poll had a way of showing maybe our ages. So I don't know how many were born by then. So CompTIA was founded in 1982 as a non-profit, non-governmental organization. It is the largest IT association in the world. The members of this association include names that you actually know. Amazon, I'm sure everyone knows Amazon here. Google, Microsoft. These are some of the members of this IT association. All right. Now, we are known for a number of things. As an association, we are respected because we have created an environment where people begin, build, and supercharge their IT careers. All right. We are the leading provider of vendor neutral certifications. Vendor neutral meaning they do not align. The certifications or learning content don't necessarily align with a specific vendor. We provide knowledge and skills validation for the different aspects of IT specialities. So we are the leading provider of vendor neutral certifications. Now, some statistics. Across the world, we have over 3 million people who are CompTIA certified. All right? People who are CompTIA certified. Now, the other thing to note about our certifications, they're not just certifications, but they align with job roles. They align with job roles. So it's not just a certification for the sake of it. Now, over time, like I mentioned, since 1982, we have been there. We have undergone or rather provided different content, different certifications. They have also changed over time. So we are highly regarded since that time. We continuously are being highly regarded for our career pathways in the areas of cloud, cybersecurity, and also data. So that is what I can say about our, the introduction about CompTIA. Yeah.
Thank you, Benjamin. I guess in your intro, I think you mentioned some key points here. As you said, CompTIA was formed in 1982, and by some key, let me call it tech companies, as you mentioned, Microsoft, Amazon, IBM. I think is very critical because when you talk about CompTIA, people's mind is that it's fixed to a particular vendor, thinking that maybe it's purely skewed towards maybe just Microsoft or IBM or Amazon. But at least you have let us understand that it is a vendor neutral organization or industry, and it's a tech association, which is basically its focus on technology as an industry association formed in 1982. Thank you very much for the clarity on that. So the next question will be, what role do CompTIA certification play in advancing digital transformation initiative in Africa? As Africa is going through a transformation, and more focus is now on digital transformation, what role does really CompTIA have, or what package does CompTIA have to support Africans in that direction?
Sorry. So good question. You're talking about digital transformation, and I think that's a good place to start by defining what digital transformation entails. So when you talk about this transformation, you are referring to certain aspects, which I can highlight. For example, you're talking about digitalizing existing processes, moving from manual or paper-based processes to digital platforms so that you can streamline operations, bring in efficiency. So you're addressing how are you digitalizing these existing processes. Now, this also leads to you are developing new digital products and services. You want to basically create new offerings. if I can give just a small broad example, if you are in any bank today or you've subscribed for any particular service, there is a way that you are receiving information about new offerings from this entity. Maybe you have a cell phone, so you're receiving you're receiving new offerings. They're always giving you new offerings, and this is through digital technologies, right? You're a member of a bank. You bank with a certain bank. They offer certain services. If you've been with them for a long time, then you have seen them bring in these new changes. So avenues of bringing in new digital products and services. Again, you also are enhancing customer experiences, when you're talking about this digital space. So you're utilizing digital tools to personalize interactions. Now, this is just to give a broad perspective. Now, your question is about how CompTIA certifications are playing a role here. So what happens is that the IT professionals that are there are being given the necessary skills, necessary and relevant skills that align with those aspects of transformation. So the technological landscape has got various, highs and lows, or, it's just a different landscape. So we have challenges, we have opportunities, we have the challenge of security. So you want IT professionals to be aligned with the relevant and necessary skills at every level of managing cybersecurity. When you talk about this landscape and you're leveraging on technology, you cannot avoid talking about the cloud. You'll hear cloud this, a cloud service, you'll hear about cloud platform. So professionals need to understand this cloud. When I say it's not just professionals, by the way, it is even people who are at the C level, people who are financing this. For example, you have someone at a C level in an organization who needs to sign off on a cloud subscription, right? So that person needs to understand about this cloud. We've been using our emails over time, and now you're saying our emails have been moved to this cloud and we need to pay for this cloud. So this C-level person doesn't need to be converted into a techie. They just need to understand the end of the cloud where they're paying for a subscription. So CompTIA provides a certification for that C-level person to just focus on understanding that tail end of what is this cloud business about. On the other technology side, implementing the technology, implementing this cloud, you have the professional who will be provided with guidelines on how do you actually set up and effectively manage this cloud. You have individuals generally, that's what I'm talking about, who need to understand this technology. Cloud computing, cybersecurity, data and analytics. All these are relevant and essential for enabling digital transformation. So that is how CompTIA certifications make a contribution to this.
Thank you very much, Benjamin, for a well-delivered insight into this. Because I know that when it comes to CompTIA, they cover all the emerging technologies coming in, basically the 4 pillars, which I know has to do with data, AI, which has to do with infrastructure, which has to do with the cloud, and also the software bit, which you mentioned. And I believe that in this space, it's very important that as African youth and as African young people, we catch up with this. And I believe that CompTIA, as a vendor neutral, plays a very key role in making sure that the African youth or the African workforce gets updated in these technologies. I will try to follow up with the next question in that as much as you mentioned, as we have the old and also the young people in there, in what ways can CompTIA certification contribute to the technology evolution, innovation seen in African industry, specifically with focus on industry during the areas of digital transformation? In what areas does really CompTIA really focus in terms of African industries?
Right. Good question. So what I see CompTIA contributing is that in this implementation, like I highlighted a few industries. I talked about a bank. I talked about a phone, service that someone subscribes to. All of us have a mobile phone, for example. So these are industries that might appear to be very different, but they have some areas in which they converge, right? Now, what happens from a CompTIA perspective is that CompTIA provides a framework of best practices, all right? A framework of best practices and standards for IT professionals. Now, when we talk about best practice framework and standards for IT professionals, we are looking at laying a foundation that is relevant, that is firm. I've mentioned how CompTIA is vendor neutral in our carrying out, the certifications, the content, and vendor neutrality is important in this particular space of providing a framework and best practices, because when we look at an area such as networking, right, we want this person beginning to establish their foundation in networking to have a broad perspective of what is involved in networking. When you talk about security, that's cybersecurity analyst. When you talk about the cloud, what happens is that if you start your journey in networking, right, we introduce you to networking generally. When you land in an environment where they use the networking equipment from vendor A or vendor C, when it comes now to you transitioning to managing that network, setting up the network and maintaining it, it will be easy for you to transition your knowledge into a specific vendor's approach. All right. The cloud aspect works the same way. We have many cloud vendors, so we are focused on making sure that when IT systems and infrastructure are designed, when they are implemented, when they are maintained, they support innovation, they support growth, all right? Instead of just you start off in this bank, come and do your, deploy your systems and everything else. There is no standard you're following. If you go with one vendor, it's fine picking a vendor, but I'm just saying that how CompTIA is coming in is that your IT systems, your infrastructure design and implementation should follow a certain logical way that will support future growth, that will support innovation, all right, and growth of that business. Now, another aspect in which we contribute here as CompTIA through the certifications is that there is an aspect of continuous learning and professional development. Our certifications, if you achieve a certification today, majority of them will change in 3 years, right? That certification remains valid for 3 years. And we provide avenues for you to maintain that certification. And when you're doing that, you are updating your knowledge, right? Consider cybersecurity. Consider, challenges come up every day. So as technology is changing, it is growing, it is essential for that professional to keep pace with rapid advancements. So that is how we support by making sure that there is continuous learning, there is continuous professional development for that professional as they continue to grow and support businesses and industries. That's what I can say to that point.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. As you mentioned, what it means is that CompTIA really covers everybody, whether you are in the banking, whether you are in the mining sector, whichever area you find yourself in the teaching sector, CompTIA really covers you, because with the 4 pillars, as in data, as you mentioned, infrastructure, dealing with security plus and network. If you want to go into cyber security, CompTIA has covered you. If you want to go into the cloud, it has covered you because, as Benjamin said, it's not limited to a particular vendor. It cuts across, which means it gives you the knowledge for you to be able to use whichever tool, irrespective of which vendor you are really dealing with, which I think really gives a very good insight into. So at this point, I would like you to link it to as the African and as the young graduates. If you can touch on some salient certification when it comes to CompTIA. If you can touch on some basic certifications, I think I really appreciate it. Someone who has really finished the tertiary education and wants to cut a path in CompTIA, which certification should that person consider? And what should be the guidance in terms of consideration, what he should look at before making a decision or taking a decision? Thank you.
Good question. Speaking to that person who is, I'll speak to both, the one who is starting out and the one who is, has been working in a, even a different line. You're in finance, you're in marketing, or whatever it is. Hopefully after my overview, you will find an area where you can say, let me give this a try, or let me start here. So we have what we call certification pathways from CompTIA. You can call it the pathway to jobs, right? And we have these pathways that I'll explain shortly. So before starting out, right, you need to look at, just an overview of the different areas, which hopefully I will shed some light on. One of the pathways that you can follow is what we call the infrastructure pathway. Now, infrastructure deals with what? Infrastructure deals with, in an organization, you will have people using computers, right? You will have these people of a specific bank, a specific company, manufacturing, telco, banks, any industry. Every person has a device they're using, and depending on the line of business that they have, there will be some specific applications that they use. So, and when they have trouble, they will need someone to help them out, someone they can call, reach out to, and they can get sorted, right? In this organization, there will be aspects of security that need to be handled, right? I gave the earlier example about the cloud subscription, where someone is meant to sign off and pay a cloud subscription because they use their emails are on the cloud. Now, what I've just described is the typical environment of any organization, small, large, medium, enterprise. Now, that whole setup needs to be supported. There is that person who receives the calls so that they can resolve the issues. There is the person who needs to do the setup. There is a person at C-level who needs to interpret. If it is a bank, for example, this person needs to understand there are new threats coming up. There is this cybersecurity challenge. There is, for example, this threat about our data has been held captive, and we are being asked to pay some money, ransomware. So there is someone at this organization that could be a global organization, countrywide organization that needs to merge these threats, these new things that are happening versus what is our policy as an organization. What should we be doing? How should we prepare ourselves, right? If someone comes and requests for data, how do we just give them because they say we are the police, we are the security, ministry of this country? So I'm giving an example of a role in an organization, and this role is handling two sides of policy and technology, but they're discussing with the C-level, CEO, CFO, and they're saying this is what we should invest in as a bank, as a telco. Now, let's come down to the nitty-gritties. This person who will receive calls at the help desk, that we can call them help desk analyst. So they need to have some knowledge. We have our first course called A+ that is relevant. it introduces aspects of hardware, software troubleshooting, operating systems, mobile devices. That's part 1 of A+. Part 2 of A+ focuses on networking, security, virtualization, cloud computing. So this is knowledge that that person who supports at the help desk needs to have. This person who does basic troubleshooting, this person who does setup of the machines in the organization. All right. As this person grows, maybe they will want to now manage the whole network. Someone is not getting internet. Okay, you're working at an internet service provider and you have all these customers who are connecting to you. Nowadays this role is also taken up by the telcos. Internet is being provided through the telecommunication companies. So this person needs to have that networking knowledge. So we have Network Plus. If you need to move into security, the first certification you should consider after now managing A+, Network Plus, is Security Plus. Security Plus is basically where you have skills to perform core security functions and protect the systems, right? So you're adding a security angle, security knowledge to your other knowledge that you received. But before we even get here, there is the setup of this organization. You're setting up the infrastructure physically. We have a course called Server Plus that enables you to understand how do you set this up initially or maintain this for an organization, right? Again, cloud comes back. How do you manage the cloud? How do you implement the cloud? So we have Cloud Plus. So these are aspects of infrastructure, right? So that's a part of life.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I don't know, maybe as you share this, there's some simple information I gathered from them. I don't know whether I can share it, which falls in line with what you are saying in terms of the path. Then maybe as you speak to it, colleagues can follow. So you can continue, but I'll share that. I just wanted to draw attention so that if I share anything, then you know that it's based on that. That's what I'm sharing.
If you can allow me also, I could share my screen briefly, or I can share the path, pathways, so that it's clear for everyone.
Let me see if you can see my screen. Whether is the same.
I can see your screen. Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So then we are good to go.
Correct. Good. Yeah. Then the second one, of course, is cybersecurity. You can see the beginning is common, A+, N+, and then you proceed now to security courses. I've mentioned Security Plus. CYSA Plus is Cybersecurity Analyst, right? This is the person who monitors and evaluates, what's happening, what are the new threats, and they advise, accordingly. So here you validate the skills and knowledge to analyze and respond to the threats, right? We have pen test right there. You are looking at how do you identify, how do you exploit, how do you report vulnerabilities in systems and networks. This is relevant for various areas. As a bank, you're offering a tool or a service. I can check my balance and so on and so forth. So before this application is released to people, download it on your mobile or access it through our website, how safe, how secure is this particular service we are offering? Remember, we talked about digital transformation, so you have new offerings through digital means. So it needs to be pen tested. So your skills as a professional come in here, you're contracted by the bank, and they tell you, okay, this has been done for us. We want to bring it in to handle ABCD. So check that it's secure. There are no vulnerabilities, and the skills are required. We will be covered in Pentest Plus. Now, I talked about that role that is facing two ways. One, they are talking to leadership in the organization, CFO, CEO. They're advising them about how they should invest, in what IT areas, software, hardware, and so on. But at the same time, this person does not come and speak geek to the C-level and start talking about things that are not making sense. They will speak English to them and explain this is why we need to spend these many thousands of dollars and invest in this. But on the other side, they also understand, because they have people reporting to them, they understand all the way from all these other areas you talked about, A+, Network Plus, Security Plus. So they understand technically what happens in the environment. So that person needs to have advanced knowledge, right, of technology. They also need to have advanced knowledge of the business, all right? So CASP Plus is the certification that is relevant for this person, and it confirms the expertise required to design, to engineer, to implement, to manage secure enterprise, right? Enterprise, countrywide telcos. Telcos are serving everyone. They can even cross countries. So that is an advanced security practitioner. That's what we have there as CASP. Now, finally, there is data and analytics, right? You are a finance person. You've been using your spreadsheets there, but when it comes to presentation, people don't like you because it is the most boring part of the meeting. You showing, moving and jumping from one spreadsheet to another, one file to another, when the C-level just want to see, can you give us a projection? Can you give us, where are we, as of today? You collected so much data. So Data Plus enables someone to have content, to have knowledge about, this is the data. Fine. How do I break it down and create a summary for this C-level and present that, right? How do I set this up so that this is all that I present to the management, and I don't need to bore them with details of, if I add something from spreadsheet 1, spreadsheet 2, all the way to spreadsheet 10, it adds up to this. You just want to give them a summary. So you learn that through Data Plus. All right. So I've just highlighted some of the certifications that we have. One other one that I can talk about is Project Plus. All right. Project Plus is a certification that exists to enable you manage medium to large projects. All right. We have that. Yeah, there we go. So you want to learn best practices. Earlier, I highlighted best practices. So when you're looking at managing a project, there are certain fundamentals that exist. A project will have phases, it will have schedules, there will be roles. So you could be in this project working, or you could be leading the project as a manager. So what are the fundamentals, all right? How do you manage time, the resources? How do you manage the project overall? What are the best practices? That's what Project Plus is about. So anyone who manages whatever kind of projects, right, whether IT or non-IT to some extent, then you require this particular certification, Project Plus, right? You're a project coordinator, so this will enhance your approach to doing things from a best practice perspective. You will not be, what do you say? You will not be winging it, coordinating from a point of no knowledge. You're going to be doing stuff from a point of, you understand how projects work. You understand how to manage schedules, assign resources, and so on. And some of the tools available that you could use to make your project.
Thank you very much, Benjamin, for the clarity you have really given us in terms of the courses from CompTIA. At least you have touched on the infrastructure bits, as we mentioned earlier, in terms of the cybersecurity bit and the data analytics bit, and also even talking about the professional bit, which has to do with the Project Plus and also the cloud essentials. So those who are interested in infrastructure, as stated, the pathway is quite clear. A+, Network Plus, Server Plus, Linux, Security Plus, Cloud. If you're interested in the cybersecurity, it's A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, one of the top-notch certification from CompTIA, Security Plus. Then we have the Cybersecurity Analyst, or Then we have the pen test and the CC. But I also know that currently CompTIA is also introducing the X. That's for the experts, which I believe that those who are, I don't know whether you touch on that, the expert, maybe just a statement on that
I would like
will
to
help.
touch on that later.
Okay.
It's something coming up, and I just wanted to talk about the beginners. The X deals with now like an advanced level. I will highlight it a bit later. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So then we also have the data analytics basic. At least I've taken the data plus, and I'm quite I'm more into data. So yes, I've taken a data plus certification. I'm quite a good one. And it gives good understanding of what really data is, whichever path you really want to go, data plus, or if you want to go into analytics, data plus, one of the good courses to really take. We have the data sys, which has to do with doing a little bit of administrative work or database management. Then you have to do the data sys. Then the data X is the expert bit. Because I saw the data X, then my mind just went into the expert bit. Yeah.
So since excited.
Yes, I got excited. So since you touch on it, since you touch on it later, maybe I'll link my next question to with giving us these insights. What resources and study materials would you recommend if I have to prepare myself for all the certifications? How do I prepare myself for it? What is involved? Where do I go to?
Good question. So let me give a bit of a background about myself.
Okay.
A few years ago, it's not a few, it's a lot. I wouldn't say how a lot, but when I started studying CompTIA, I was self-taught, personal drive to understand more about hardware. I started off as a software development guy, and I maintained this curiosity about hardware, and the certification called A+ was there back then, and I started just looking for material and content. I could not afford, to enroll for a class back then, but I had, friends from different places, and I would get what I could in terms of material to study. Now, there are 2 exams in CompTIA A+. So I did these 2 exams like 6 months apart. Exam 1, then exam 2 after 6 months. I was paying for myself, and it was a very rewarding experience. Now, the journey was not very interesting because I could not get getting the material fine. I got some material, some content, which I could go through. And now come the exam preparation, I could not get something reliable, to help me prepare appropriately. And I tell my friends that time I think I passed just by the grace of God, because you can imagine spending your money on these online exams, and the surprise that comes, the tension that you have after those 2-3 hours of doing the exam, and you click next, you click finish, and you're waiting for a graph that will show either red or green,
Green.
So, but thank God, I made it. And the journey was not easy to find content, which is now to your question. Today, CompTIA has got tools for you to study the content, become competent. These tools involve 1, study content. We call them, what I would recommend is what we call SAT Master Learn, right? And through an organization, a partner like you, someone is going to have, if they're coming for a class to your place, you'll make sure that they have SAT Master Learn, which is basically the content. If it is A+, like me back then, you're given content covering A to Z. And this content is presented in a very meaningful way. You can set milestones. It is gamified. It contains quizzes that can help you, enable you, make sure that you understand the exam objectives. You can actually time yourself on how long you will take. If you maintain a study discipline, of a certain timeline, you know how to cover the content, you know how to validate that you've understood objective 1, objective 2, such that come time for the exam, you can actually plan and say, out of the exam objectives, I have covered 80% of the objectives I'm comfortable from a knowledge perspective, right? So SAT Master Learn. Now, there is labs, right? SAT Master Labs. There is actually an integration of the content and the labs. You're provided a lab environment, which is online. You don't need to crisscross, sign up to one platform, sign up to another platform. This content and labs are integrated. You get to experience the live scenario of these lessons. You get to troubleshoot. You get to access infrastructure that might be difficult, maybe for you as a center to set up. You get to have access to these labs, which are online. Okay. Now, lastly, if and from looking at myself back then, little money, managing the resources, giving myself time. After learning, there is now preparing for the exam and doing the exam, paying for the exam. So we have also SAT Master Practice, which is a tool that allows you to basically condition yourself, make sure that you're actually ready for that exam, because you're paying a good amount of money. So you better be ready. You better be sure before you spend that money that you don't only have hope. Hope is not your only, anchor that you're hoping you'll pass. You have some level of certainty. So the SAT Master Practice tool helps you to actually do that. It helps you to prepare so that by the time you're doing that exam, you are having confidence that you'll pass. So these are just some of the tools. We have more. That through, again, yourselves as a partner, you can set up and provide content for someone who wants to learn that is comprehensive. And in as much as third-party material might be good, like for myself back then, what I could afford, what I could get from my friends was third-party content, not directly from CompTIA. But today, these are within reach of individuals through partners like yourselves, even individuals who could afford, they can go direct, but they get a better deal when they come through a partner like yourselves. And you can avail this to them. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. As you have mentioned, I'm sure those times maybe partners were not really available in Kenya and other countries. But currently, actually, FredExcel Consult is a delivery partner of CompTIA in Ghana. Mm-hmm. So those who really want to take that path, contact FredExcel Consult and will be able to help you in your certification in CompTIA in terms of all the infrastructure. Yeah.
Can I add something?
Sure.
As a partner, you are capable of catering to different needs. Someone might come to you and say, I cannot fit into a class schedule. You can cater to them by giving them the appropriate content and checking on them when necessary, or they come back to you when necessary. You could also organize a class, for those who can fit into a class schedule. So it is progressive. You can start off someone at their level with their, time constraints and so on. Partners like you are able now to offer this, and you become a partner. It's not like, here's the schedule. If you can't make it, too bad. If you can't make it, you can, as a partner, give them options, and they still get to meet their objective. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much. And as it's established now, FredExcel Consult is a delivery partner of CompTIA in Ghana. So those who really want to take the courses, you can really get in touch with us, and we'll share our social media pages and our contact, and you can always get in touch with us if you want to take any courses in CompTIA. The next question will be in terms of now linking the CompTIA certification to the industry. In what ways is the CompTIA certification relevant to the industry? I mean, when I talk about industry, I mean corporate industries. How will corporate industry really recognize CompTIA certification, and what impact does it really bring onto the marketplace? Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've gone through the process. I've gotten certification. What's next? Will they really put me ahead? Yes.
Okay. So, if you've gotten the certification, you are head and shoulders above the rest. I mentioned the labs, right? The preparation that you have to go through before sitting the exam. Now, one of the things that CompTIA certifications have in common is that we align the certification to a job role. All right. Now, you get to be validated. When you do that exam, you are validated that you can actually fit into this job role. There's no winging it, so to speak. It's the reality is that by the time you earn the certifications, you actually can prove, so it is about your competence is validated. So that by itself, and when now it comes to an employer, the employer wants to know that you have the necessary skills and knowledge, and you can prove it. All right, you can prove it when you're given the chance. So an employer will have more confidence in you because you already are validated, right? You are shortlisted, if we can call it that. So there's that enhanced employability for you as an individual. Now, one other thing is that you actually, generally from the surveys, if you go through our website, we do surveys every so often. And what happens is that IT professionals with CompTIA certifications actually earn higher than those without certifications, right? Because here is a typical example for an employer. You need to benchmark, let's say, your salary. The organization needs to benchmark how much should we pay role X, role Y, and so on and so forth. So if you say, I can do this, versus someone who doesn't need to say, they provide proof. I am validated at a world-class level.
Sure.
That is already, a step ahead. So it has been noted from a CompTIA perspective through the surveys that we do. Those who are certified will typically earn higher than those without certifications. Now, I've talked about the aspects of being certified, continuous learning as a professional, maintaining the level of certification. Now, this allows you to have better career advancement opportunities, right? Because you're not stagnant. You're not at the same level where you were when you got certified. New challenges have come up in technology. Technology changes every day. So the fact that you are continuously enhancing yourself to maintain the certification gives an employer, gives someone who needs your services and your skills more confidence to give you room to advance, right? Because it is a competitive world out there. Let me give an example.
Okay.
We have, let me say, East Africa generally, even Ghana.
Yeah.
Some big tech have set up in Ghana, right? What was the shift like when big tech set up, when they visit? What happens is that they get the cream of enterprise. They get the cream talent. And then what happens? The bank, the telco, the organizations that these people left, they need to find replacements. So what criteria do they use for that replacement? It is about recognition of expertise. So if you're certified, then it shows that you're valuable and you can showcase your expertise and skills to employers and colleagues. So that's how basically it happens. In East Africa, you've got Google here, you've got Microsoft here, AWS, they keep coming. So the same shift is happening. The guys at the top get picked and then replacements need to be hired. So how do you know who to hire? Threats in cybersecurity, Africa has been bearing the brunt. So what happens within that ecosystem? You need to, one, maintain the people who are good, who have the expertise. How do you maintain? You maintain by paying more. How do you pay more? How do you validate why you should pay more? Certification, right? So these are just ways in which corporates recognize the value of certification, and it's not about how do you just hire, but it's about how do you maintain those people you've hired. Who is showing currency of their skills, who is able to demonstrate and validate those skills. It's not about hearsay. It's not about someone being able to speak for you. I know Fred is a very good guy. When it comes down to it, when they need to make a choice, who do we keep? Who do we promote? Who do we advance? Who do we give this position? Who do we recommend? It will be, what do they have? So if you have certification, you are definitely given a preference. Yeah.
Spot on. Yes. I think the certification also is global, international recognized. Exactly. It doesn't limit you to whether you are in Africa.
Yes.
In it's international, whether in Europe, whether in America, it's really recognized. And I know that it's really recognized internationally. So far as you have gone through CompTIA certification, you have gone through the CETI Master Lab, as you stated earlier on, they know that you have hands-on experience and it's international. It's not limited to where you are. So wherever you put your certificate on, it can really speak for you. So Thank you for that insight. And it's not limited to only locally or only our country. Now about the certification, let me go through. How often do CompTIA certification need to be renewed? And what is the renewal process? I've gotten the certification right now. I've used it for some time. Is it because now I know that there are new things happening every now and then? What is the renewal policy on or is it that when I get my certification, Hula lies forever and I can use it?
All right. Good question. So technology changes and new stuff comes up. So from a CompTIA perspective, certifications are valid for 3 years. All right. We have those certifications that may not have that like period or window, such as Project Plus, and unless something drastic happens, with time on those certifications. But technology certifications, you maintain it, you have it for 3 years. Once you get certified, in 3 years, there will be a change. We will release, CompTIA will release a new set of objectives. For example, currently we have Security Plus, which has got new content. So those who are certified in Security Plus in the old version will now need to know what is new. So CompTIA provides avenues of how to maintain this certification. So either one, you can decide to do the new exam, all right? But that's like doing, starting from zero. So that's an option, but it's not a very cheap option, all right? CompTIA provides what we call CE, continuing education credits, right? So what we do through a partner like you, they can come to you and say, hey, Fred, I would like to update my certification in Security Plus. Then you can get them the continuing education, like a package of this is what is new. This is what has been added. This is what has been changed. So they get to go through this content to update their knowledge and they will maintain the certification. So through your partner, they can come and you offer that to them. All right. Now, another way is they could look at things and say, instead of me going the continuing education way, let me get a higher certification, the next level certification. That is also allowed, right? Another way of tracking the continuing education is if you're an expert like yourself, you go and deliver, you deliver sessions on your subject matter, which means that you do research. There is a way that you can submit that this is what I have been doing, right? So my knowledge is current. So there's a process that is available for you as a certified person to submit evidence that shows you are contributing, you are increasing your knowledge, so your knowledge is updated. So we provide those various avenues for you to maintain your certification. Yeah, that's how it is.
Okay, thank you very much for the insight into the certification. So we know that technology changes every now and then. AI is coming. We have generative AI. We have a lot of things happening. So what this means is that you are not left out. Every now and then, CompTIA wants to ensure that you are up to date with the things which are happening to ensure that your certification is really valid. So then, every now and then, 3 years, or if you go through the process of the CU, as he said, certification in terms of credit accumulation, you can also get your certification and renewed. 3 years, I guess it's enough to prepare or to take up some courses to really renew your certification, which is a very good one. Now, we are moving to the last end. In terms of how does CompTIA stay current with emerging technologies in the IT industry? I know that they do conduct research, and CompTIA is really a big campaign in terms of when it comes to certification. They look at the industry, look at what is happening, look at the new technology which is going on. They go through a rigorous process to even bring out new courses. And we want to understand, how does CompTIA really stay current with the emerging technologies in the IT industry?
Okay. Yeah. So you're right. CompTIA does a lot of research. If you go to our website, and even yourselves as partners, as learning partners, you receive lots of updates every once in a while about this, research. Now, one thing that CompTIA has been doing for a long time is to monitor trends. Okay, to monitor what's happening. So we actively monitor industry trends. We have teams that are continuously attending conferences and events. We are continuously engaging with industry experts so that we know what are these trends, right? Now, as we do that, we identify new areas of, what new areas of focus and potential certification opportunities. And this now is that point I was going to get to about our new X series. We are calling it Expert Series. This is actually born out of this engagement and monitoring trends. We have noticed that there are people who have not necessarily gone through the natural pathway like we were describing. They started with A+, N+. They have been on the job, all right? They have gained their skills on the job. They have facilitated these transformations in the organizations. They have had this experience. So this is one of the trends that has now contributed to us creating the Expert Series, which I'll talk about as we go on. Now, we also have expert collaboration, where we collaborate with a network of industry experts. These are people who are educators, these are IT professionals, they are employers, the surveys that we do about salary and so on. So we get insights about what skills, what knowledge is required for the various technologies, emerging technologies. And these collaborations are actually what help us to make sure that we align. Remember, we are after creating competencies. We are aligning them to job roles. How do we get to know about these job roles? We are interacting with those educators, with those employers to understand that. CompTIA is also very big on research, right? Research and development. We actually have, if you get on YouTube, if you get on our website, actually, you will find lots of content about updates. For example, we have an interesting one that I would recommend to those people who are looking at either starting or starting their career in technology generally, or switching. You can check the state of employment, right? You get to see what is hiring looking like, even though it's based on the American market, but we produce lots of research, and that is shared to our partners, and that's how we get to ensure that our certifications remain relevant, comprehensive, and they align with the technology landscape. Now, the vendor neutrality aspect is something that we still hold very big, because the trends, like now in security, they are not necessarily aligned with a particular just one vendor. They don't affect one vendor. It is spread across. When you talk about the cloud, the challenges of the cloud, how you implement the cloud, whichever vendor, there are certain fundamentals, right, that need to be followed. Now, we also have continuous reviews and updates of certifications. We actually have what we call an advisory council. We have advisory councils and experts and IT professionals. If you go to our website again, every once in a while, even through our partner space, we have announcements where we call for SMEs. For each of the certifications we've mentioned, there's actually subject matter experts that are continuously engaged to review content, all right, and to create, new content. So these subject matter experts give lots of input to make sure that our certifications remain relevant, right? So these are just some of the ways I'm highlighting that CompTIA uses to make sure that we maintain that relevance and we give input to what's new. How can we enhance? How can we make this certification better? Is there a new certification required for a new area? That's how it has been. If you look at the timeline from 1982, you will find that there are some certifications that were there that are no longer there today. It's because of now these processes that we develop, we decide what to drop because it's no longer relevant, and we create new certifications or we enhance the certifications that are already there. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. I think at this time we will move on to Ifwa. If Ifwa has any questions from the chat, then we can respond to. I guess I've exhausted my major questions. Ifwa, from your end, any question for us to respond to for Benjamin?
Hi, Freddie. Yes, I have a couple of questions from WhatsApp, and I think there are a few in the chat as well. So we'll start with a question from Yao. Yao is asking for the format of CompTIA certification exams and how challenging they are. And he wants to know if there are specific considerations for African candidates in terms of exam difficulty or content. So please, Yao and I want to know.
Okay.
I'll first say that I hope you're not talking about special consideration because okay, so we have like standard exams regardless of the region. The only difference might be language. There are those exams that are can be available in multiple languages, but beyond that there is no special consideration, so to say, for the exam. So the exams are basically exams that validate. The objective is to validate your knowledge. Validation of knowledge is basically proving that you can do something, you have awareness, you can demonstrate that yes, I understand how to in networking we have this concept. That network cable that you plug in to your computer, the network cable?
Sure, yeah.
So in networking, you are taught how to crimp. We call it crimping. So the cable is brought by itself, and then you have the plastic connector. So you're supposed to cut, the length of cable that's required from point A to point B, and then there is a way you align those various small tiny cables in there, and then you plug it into to this small plastic thing and make sure that it's firm, and now you can plug it in and your machine will access the network. So that's like a very elaborate process. You're given, here's the cable, you're told go and crimp it, make sure that you can network these computers in the room, printer and everything. That's a practical skill that you're expected to have. So the exam will actually take you through a process of identifying, one, do you know how to do this, right? And now the process, there's cut the cable, then there's aligning those tiny cables in a specific format, and then you plug in, and it has to work, right? Again, an aspect of networking. I want computer A to be able to print on that printer on 5th floor. Here are the details of that.
Sorry, yeah, hello. Sorry. I think
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. But I guess you have made justice to the question for us. I don't know if you can push on to the second question. Yeah.
All right.
Hi. Yes, please. So let me quickly move on to the next question. Priscilla wants to know how widely recognized are CompTIA certifications in the African job market, and are there specific industries or sectors in Africa where they are particularly valued? So she wants to know the sector where they are valued, and then how wide is the recognition?
Okay. All right. So recognition is worldwide. All right. Recognition is worldwide. And I mentioned the thing about the certifications being aligned to job roles. All right. So if you're looking at proving your skills as a cybersecurity expert, right, a cybersecurity analyst, we have a certification that enables you to prove that, right? So if you are looking at telco, banks, microfinance institutions, these are entities that will require a security analyst one way or another. If you're looking at any, now this is across sectors, anywhere where someone needs to manage a help desk. People call, they have this and that issue. I cannot print, I cannot do this. My machine in the organization, my machine is behaving, a certain way. That help desk analyst role, right? The way you prove you have the skills is by having your A+ and N+ certifications. So recognition is worldwide, and like I have said, recognition is based on the role that you're going to play in any IT or even non-IT function. We talked about project management, through the Project Plus certification. So that's what I can say. And here is the other thing that I'll remind you, which Fred mentioned. Your skill is not like localized within just one African country, within Ghana. No, it is across the borders. It is across the world. You can do that help desk role, remotely. You will go to the websites, job websites, look for remote roles, and they will be talking about project manager. They'll be talking about analyst, help desk, a help desk role. So those roles are across the board, whether you're doing it within Africa or across the skills, and those skills get validated through certification. So that's what I can say. What we are doing as CompTIA through partners like our host today is we are approaching those entities, and Fred will bear me witness. We are approaching various entities on various perspectives. One is on mastering projects. There we get partner with funding entities and organizations, get as many people trained and certified as possible. That's one level. The other level, we are engaging entities, across government, ministries of education, to make sure that the teachers are aware about technology and they know how to now pass this on to their students, various entities across the countries. So that's what we're doing to make sure that we also make it easier for these entities to understand how do you place someone's skill. It is by asking for this certification. So that's what we are doing. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Thank you. Yeah, if I don't know if there's any more questions in.
We have a technical one in the chat from Elias. He wants to know how you would compare S+ and ISC2 CC, and which would you advise to start with?
Okay. Benjamin, you take that one, because I guess that one.
Okay, I guess you're throwing the hot potato. So here is the thing. Here's what I say. Look at the objectives. I would like us to, and feel free, Fred, you can organize for a session where we speak with them and like go through line by line of the differences. But here's what I'll say to guide your process. First, what is your target, right? What is your target? We have a problem. I have seen a problem from my perspective, dealing with the region, where I'll find people wanting to do so many certifications, and that's just not right. First, it's not sustainable. You cannot do every possible certification. What we are doing with the likes of our host is we are taking what we are calling the IT certification roadmap, right? Which Fred has available, and we align. Are you at entry level? Are you at intermediate level? Are you at expert level in your area? All right. And then we work with you to say, if you are at beginner level, and you are, let's say, cybersecurity analyst. This is what industry demands. The CompTIA has created that. Oh yeah, you're sharing that. Great. Yeah, this is the IT certification roadmap. So you have beginner, novice, advanced expert. On the right, you have the areas, different areas. So what we say is, where are you, right? Which area are you targeting? Infrastructure and cloud, IT service management, data and AI. You tell us. So maybe later on, this is a tool that our member can use and say, I am at intermediate level, and that is why I'm considering. Where do you see ISC2 here? Do we see it anywhere? It must be listed somewhere.
Yeah.
ISC2. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure to be at the intermediate, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we have listed as CompTIA. We play very well with others. We are not selfish when it comes to aligning skills generally in technology. All right. So we have our own offerings from CompTIA, which we reviewed earlier, but we also highlight what is identified, what is known from other vendors, so that you can see, if I have already achieved this, then I might want to look at what is the next step, right? But this is having a holistic view of the industry, of the IT certifications landscape, so that you want to avoid doing each and every certification you hear is hot. Maybe someone was just letting you know this is the next best thing, and they have the money they can spend. You don't need to follow them. Yeah, so look at where are you, intermediate, beginner, advanced, and so on. Then review from an industry perspective what is required. That's how I would approach that bit. It's not about which one is better than the other. It's about what does industry want to validate. Is it validated or not?
Okay, thank you, Benjamin. Fred, because we are quickly running out of time, I would like to appeal that all participants who didn't get an opportunity to ask their questions should send them to our team via WhatsApp or email later on. And our colleague will drop our contact information in the chat for their reference. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you to everyone for joining today's insightful session. And we apologize for going beyond the 1 hour, 30 minutes time slated for the program. You've been a very wonderful audience. Your participation has been invaluable. Benjamin, would you like to say anything before we end the session? Do you have any message for them? Fred as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for inviting me to the session. I am glad that I got to interact with the various participants and very interesting questions. What I'll say is, if you're looking at either starting out or you're looking at switching, an entry point, you've been doing something else. There is an entry point that is practical for you and also cost effective, right? You don't need to go and do every certification out there. Right. When you speak with our partners like Fred, what we hope to do through our partners is to first create an understanding of where are you on your journey, right? And we try and let you know, consider this entry point to get to that place that you want to get to. And like we have highlighted as well, we have the tools, we have the resources through partners like Fred, where you can come and not only understand what is that starting point for me, but also supporting you in that journey, in that entry, so that unlike myself, having that rough beginning, you will have an experience where you feel, yes, I have the right content, I have the right support, and I'm going to, do well in this first step. So yeah, let's continue talking and utilize partners like we have as our host today to help you in your journey. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Thank you for the insightful delivery. We really appreciate the support you are giving us as the Africa Director for CompTIA in terms of business development. We really appreciate your support. So colleagues and attendees, thank you very much for joining us today. FredExcel Consult is a partner with CompTIA. So those who really want to really get certified in the CompTIA certification, you can really get in touch with us. As we promised, those who attended this webinar, should you get in touch with us and interested in any of the CompTIA certification certification. As we promised them 5% discount on the whole process in terms of learning, preparing yourself, and in terms of getting certified, the voucher, we are promising 5% discount. So thank you very much, team, and thank you for joining us this afternoon in Ghana, and I'm sure to be evening in other parts of the countries, and also morning in other parts of the countries. Thank you very much, and Ifwa, you have the last word. Thank you.
Thank you to you all for the insight. Thank you all for your time. We've exceeded by 11 minutes, but we are very grateful that you stayed through well. So we hope to see you at the next webinar. Have a very lovely Sunday afternoon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.